This isn't out of the question for the New England Patriots. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron. This is Sports Talk Patriots on the daily, pushing out content for people just like you who can't get enough Patriots football. And before we get started, I just want to congratulate you guys on that bye week win. It's a win because you don't got to see the Patriots have a great drive and then blow it all up and lose in miserable fashion. So, again, I love the Patriots. They're going to do great. Give them some time. But it's nice having a bye week, not having to stress out about things. Anyways, that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment below. Today, what we're going to be talking about, since it's a bye week, not a lot of crazy news, a potential different move for the first overall pick, or the first pick for the New England Patriots. And it's not wide receiver, it's not offensive line, so we're going to jump into that as well. Some predictions or the chances the Patriots get the first overall pick, so we're going to jump into that. So without further ado, our boy Mason Graham out of U of N, the University of Michigan, would be a monster on the defensive front for the New England Patriots. The reason being is you pair him with Christian Barmore, they are going to cause some disruption in the interior offensive line. It will be awful for any offensive line that they were facing. Anytime you have a good interior defensive line, especially someone like Barmore, who is quick, who is agile, who can get home and make sacks in the backfield, someone like that is going to help open up the edge rushers, the linebackers that are blitzing through the A or B gap, whatever it might be. It helps the defense tremendously. If you win in the trenches, you have a much better likelihood to win the game as well. It's a trickle effect. It helps every other position, whether it's on offense or defense. If that line is good, it helps. It echoes throughout the team. So Mason Graham, now I want to reiterate this. I do not think this would be a smart move on the Patriots, but again, you need to consider each option. You just don't want them going in saying we're only looking at wide receivers and offensive linemen, because you do that, then you have the potential to miss someone who is, a unbelievable talent that could help your team. Let's look back at the Detroit Lions when they did their drafting, when they first got Dan Campbell. Brad Holmes drafting someone like Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people thought he was taken way too early. A lot of people don't have running backs as first-round talent. A lot of times you can find them in later rounds. You look at Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was I believe a 7th-round pick, and that's someone who has made the Pro Bowl, who has done well when he's not injured. And so a lot of times people are like, it's not worth taking a running back in the first round. But Jahmyr Gibbs has greatly paid off, and he fit a need for the Lions. So the biggest thing is, what would help the team the most right then and there? I would argue, as always, depending on what they do in the offseason, I'm going to say it's most likely going to be the offensive line, hands down. From there, I would say probably wide receiver, then edge rusher. I don't think that the interior defensive line is a high need or a high concern for the New England Patriots. But again, if Mason Graham is built like people say he is, then it's at least Elliott Wolf and the Patriots and Gerard Mayo need to take a look at them. Now, when Michigan upset Ohio State, I was stunned. The spread was unreal. I believe at game time it was minus 19.5. In that game, the Buckeyes literally had no answer for them. They could not get the ball moving. Michigan's defensive line, led by Mason Graham, really controlled that line of scrimmage. And so you look at someone like that, and you have to at least take them into consideration. Again, I want to reiterate, I am very much, I want to get an offensive tackle. McMillan from Arizona is still very interesting for me as well, depending what they do in the offseason. Mason Graham would be on the lower end of the list, but he is most likely going to be a top 10 pick. And so comment below, tell me what you think. He's not necessarily a Christian Barmore in the sense of he's getting in the backfield a ton. It's more of, hey, he has quick hands. He makes great run defense. He does a great job. And so when it comes down to it, you jump into his stats real quick. Throughout the years at Michigan, he's had 9 sacks. And that doesn't account for his quarterback hurries, though. So, I mean, in a way, besides his run defense, he is getting into the backfield. And a lot of times you look at stats like this for interior defensive lineman, and it doesn't really give you all the information you need. That's not putting into effect the QB hurries. It's not putting into effect the amount of times it's a tackle for loss or how many double teams he's had, or almost like a stat that would say like assisting on a sack, taking on a double team, but letting that open up a hole for a blitzer. So just interesting to see. But comment below, what do you think about Mason Graham? Again, I'm not sold, but I do think it makes you question, it brings up the question of, do the Patriots need to look at every single scenario and what would be best for their team? Again, I think that's offensive line, but we will see. As well, New England Patriots, Sports Illustrated has given them the chance of them getting the first overall pick at a 27.5% chance. So I think that would be incredibly interesting. Other teams that are probably going to be obviously in consideration are teams like the Giants, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Jaguars, believe it or not, even though they beat us earlier this year and they were in the playoffs not too long ago. And so when it comes down to it, if they do get that first overall spot, what should they do in that situation? In my personal opinion, what they could do, and again, I use the Houston Texans. I'm not a Houston Texans fan. I don't mind C.J. Stroud. I think he's a great guy. But when I look at how they drafted the year after they fired Lovie Smith, they took C.J. Stroud, and then they immediately traded up to get another pick and got Will Anderson. I love that aggressiveness from the Texans. I would not mind seeing that from the New England Patriots. So if they could go up and somehow like, hey, instead of we're going to go get the offensive tackle we want, and then we're going to trade up and get McMillan, or we're going to get McMillan, but then we're going to trade up and get the offensive tackle that we want. Or we're gonna get the offensive lineman we want. We're gonna hope to get a wide receiver in the offseason, and then we're gonna get Mason Graham. I would have no issue with that. Be aggressive. We look at it, and I'm not saying there isn't talent in the second, third, fourth, fifth, all those rounds. No, but a lot of people, a lot of things you read on this draft class, it's not as talented again as draft classes before. But you really can't. Grade that until I feel like it's been a handful of years since that draft has happened. I don't feel like, yes, I guess compared to talent from other drafts, especially last year was a very talented offensive group, especially at quarterback. A lot of quarterbacks in that first round, a lot of specialty players on the offense in that first round. And so when it comes down to it, I would love to see going forward an aggressiveness from the Patriots. One, when it comes into the offseason and being able to pick up unrestricted free agents, but also two, being able to go into the draft and wheel and deal and try to get, if they could get 2 top 10 picks, that would be awesome. Now, that doesn't mean they got to sell the boat, but figuring out a way they can do that where they can get 2 talented people in return that can start right away, because that can really change this team. Again, I think a lot of people think, wow, the Patriots suck, they're awful. Of all the teams that potentially could pick first overall or top 5, I honestly think the Patriots are in one of the best positions. Comment below if you disagree or if you agree, but I honestly think they have pieces. They just have to fill in some other areas, and I think they can be a playoff caliber team. So comment below, tell me what you guys think. Enjoy the bye week, enjoy the games, stress-free, hopefully, and we'll talk later. My name's Aaron, this is Sports Talk Patriots. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. Peace.